Next issue after these logistics, cold chains, the food safe food is very important. Now, how to reach the fruits and vegetables to the consumer in the most safest way. So, three areas are very important. One, at the production level, are we producing safe food? At even cleaning, and also sometimes the fruits and vegetable coloring is being done, so which is more like poison. Then ripening, we are using for ripening many chemicals, many hormones, and also storage. So the safety is under threat, and when you are doing artificially. So the issue is that how we can ensure safe, fresh fruits and vegetables, and also processed fruits and vegetables to the consumer. This is one issue. And second is what is the awareness among consumers? Our Indian consumers, not I am talking of the high income group which is sitting here, but a middle income group and low income group, how concerned they are about the safe food. We are concerned more of the quality. Quality we look the shape, size, freshness, but how it has been produced, how it has been transported, how it has been processed, we are not aware. So what is the issue on the awareness of the consumers? So I will request Dr. Vinay Kumar, who is Vice President with Technical and Regulatory Authority, MV Enterprises, to share his views.
Thank you, sir. I would like to thank, for the beginning itself, thank ICRIER and Dr. Arpita for this opportunity to partner with you guys, and specifically for the opportunity to create awareness about the consumption of fruits and vegetables is a journey which is needed for the nation at large. And that's a key message which we want to give across as a partner at this study. And I'm really happy that this study is a step in the right direction. And I would like to just start this topic with, we did a survey across at a global level, and the reports are exactly the same. In fact, the global phytonutrient report, which Amway has done it worldwide, has also remains the same way. The same presentation is across in different countries. We did a survey across the country also, and a similar observation has been observed there also. And I am seeing that this message is same, that the selected in each of the fruits and vegetables which we consume, there are a lot of selected phytonutrients, and that's where Mrs. Isha had mentioned specifically. The benefits of the irony is that we are not highlighting the benefits of plant nutrients. And the benefits of plant nutrients are much more. And the focus today is only on the macro. And the macronutrients is only the fat and carbohydrates which have been added. Whereas there are a lot of beneficial nutrients which have been studied across the globe. And in fact, the plant nutrients, there are thousands of compounds. And what all the studies has happened is only about 9 nutrients only. And 9 nutrients can give what all health benefits. That itself is a step in the right direction. For example, and how do you promote this campaign? And that's exactly what we do in a different approach, create an awareness. How can you create awareness? The awareness is created by different campaigns. And what we do in our campaign is by creating a color campaign. Color campaign, for example, we do a color campaign for a week. For example, in fact, in all of us Indians also we take vegetables, but all the vegetables, are they sufficient enough? They are not sufficient. In fact, there is a mean of, you may take only one color regime of food that you take in daily, but that is not sufficient. So what we do promote is that we do a different color campaign of your vegetables. Take, for example, Monday you take a green vegetable, Tuesday you take a different color vegetable, Wednesday you take a red color vegetable. Each has got its own phytonutrients from each one of them, and they are beneficial for their daily benefits. And the combination of the vegetables is quite critical for us to have the health benefits on a daily consumption basis. The third point I would like to highlight, which Dr. Arpita raised about on the awareness about the how to quality of the ingredients which we are getting from the fruits and vegetables, and the campaign which is what we do is the quality of the certificates of the fruits and vegetables which we are getting, rightly as Parvesh mentioned, is on the quality of from the supply chain, what we get, the ingredients may not be of the same qualities. So how do we ensure that the consumer, when you get the end quality of the products which you do by a process from the fruits and vegetable, is by a certification program. And that's one we believe that across the country, there is an opportunity to work with the farmers. And there is from seed to supplement. That's how we work right from the moment you start making in the farming stage itself, right from the original stage itself, control the procedure of making that product so that the seed from there to the supplement, the nutrients are not getting destroyed. So we call it by a program called NutriCert, and that's how we quality of the ingredients which you are using from a vegetable or a nutrient which you use as beneficial for a consumer. Lastly, I would like to touch upon the point on regulatory action, and this also needs a barrier. All these nutrients which you are introducing into the country are new things, and that's an irony. The fruits and vegetables has got all the nutrients, but to bring it as a product, you need a regulation. So that's a irony, and I would say that I think that's across the world, and India is no exception. And right now, in fact, the ministry has put across the Food Safety and Regulatory Act, and it's a step, and I would say it's a step in the right direction. The regulation is coming in for the supplement products also, ingredients also. That's a step in the right direction from the government, and I would say it very well lays out the procedures and how to introduce a new ingredient into a product is also very well laid out. I think what the government has taken in at last is the regulation for the nutraceutical supplements. It's a step, I would say it's a step in the right direction. Thanks a lot for the opportunity to give.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot for these important issues. So important lesson is that every day we should use different colors, vegetables and fruits. Thank you very much. So the next issue is the whole, the policy domain. In which direction we are moving to increase production, and also how we are creating enabling environment for these fruits and vegetables. You know that the entire production system is unorganized. Most of the retail sector is also unorganized. And in between, all actors are also unorganized in this value chain. So there are two questions arise. Now, why organized private sector is not coming up in fruits and vegetables, largely both fresh fruits and vegetables, also not coming up aggressively in processed commodities, especially fruits and vegetables. This is one issue, that why they are not coming. Second is, are there policy obstacles? They are interested, but there are policy obstacles, there are financing obstacles that they are not entering in this program. So what is the puzzle from production till it is reaching to the consumer, whole delivery mechanism? So we have Dr. Paresh Sharma. You know him, that he's former managing director for Small Farmers Agribusiness Consortia, and he took strong initiative to strengthen farmer-producer organization. He's one of our role models in strengthening farmer-producer organization. So he knows the whole policy domain of this sector. So I'll request him to cover these two issues at least.
Thank you, Chair. And friends, I must make clear I'm not speaking on behalf of policymakers. Yeah. I'm not with the domain anymore. As of 31st January, I'm a retired government servant. So I'm here in the capacity of a citizen like you, a concerned citizen. And I thought that the excellent report that we heard about this morning, and of course I get to read it, but you have given us enough, I think, teasers to want us to read it carefully. But I thought that we should place it in the context of where we are today as a country in terms of our consumption of fresh produce. And I'd like to highlight just three features of this context, which I think are germane to this discussion. This may come as a surprise to some people, but I think most of you would be aware of this, that our agriculture today is largely driven by the market. Now, many people find this something of a counterintuitive statement, but today the composition of the agri-GDP value is 3/4 made up of what we call high-value agriculture, which is fruits and vegetables, poultry, dairy, eggs, meat, etc. And only 1/4 of the value comes from cereals and staples like pulses and oilseeds. Around 20 years ago, this formula was actually reversed. And I think the reason why so many people have turned up today and there is so much discussion in the popular media, in academia, in research institutions, and there is so much interest in the private sector is because today it's the signaling of the market which the farmer is responding to. So this change has not been brought about by government policy. It is in fact been brought about by the changing nature of consumer demand in this country. As India has become richer, as the middle class has grown, as disposable incomes have grown, people are eating more of this high-value agricultural product and less of the staples. This is borne out by any number of government and private sector surveys. So this is the first, I think, important thing to keep in mind. The second, I think, thing which is also very important, and that's something which is unique to us as a large country in terms of population and now a growing economy. And this makes us an outlier, which is why our agricultural growth and our entire economic growth is following a trajectory which is actually unique. And this unique aspect is that leave aside all the discussion in the media about who eats what kinds of meat, but we are the only large country which is largely vegetarian. There is no other population of comparable size which has such a large component of vegetarians. The last NSS data available says that only 24% of Indians reported themselves to be meat eating. Okay? So the kind of industrial production of grains that you have seen in the developed economies of North America, later even Europe, Latin America, and most recently in China, that's unlikely to be seen in India. China grows 500 million tons of grain themselves. They import another 200 for a population which is more or less equal to ours. We are barely able to handle around 270, 275 million tons of grain. Why is that? Because our grain is not going into conversion into animal protein. And if I may stick my neck out, it is unlikely to do so in the foreseeable future. It takes 10 kg of grain to convert into 1 kg of beef. It takes 5 kg of grain to convert into 1 kg of pork. Now, aside from the politics, around 80% of the population of the country being Hindu, we are very unlikely to become major beef eaters. In fact, 15% of the population is Muslim, they are unlikely to become major pork eaters. So we are not going to be able to have the same conversion requirements that we've seen in the developed economies and more recently in China. And that is why fruits and vegetables are so important in our country. No other country has to deal with these volumes and deliver it to such a large population. Okay? So comparisons with France, Israel, etc., I of course very respectfully listen to them. I've had the privilege of visiting these countries, but we are just talking of a completely different scale. And that brings me to my third point, that all this being true, and we are the second largest producer of fruits and vegetables, we are also, in terms of the size of our production and population, the world's most wasteful and most inefficient handler of this fresh produce, which is a great shame, given the levels of malnutrition and given some of the issues that this report has thrown up. So now, this is the context in which I think knowledge like this has to be treated. It is just not one more report to be added to some shelf. I think ICRIER has done a great job, and my former colleague, the Horticulture Commissioner, has left, but I think we need to find ways to take this knowledge, not just to government for policy making, we need to take it out to the population Because unless there is a demand for better regulation, demand for better standards, it's not going to happen. We were speaking in the morning, Pavinesh and I. Now, that's not relevant to the discussion, but one of the things that I'm hoping to do with my time, now that I'm out of government, is to promote a startup addressing the delivery of fresh produce to large urban centers like Delhi. And I've, for my sins in my career, spent most of my time in food and agriculture, and I have spoken to every major retail chain of this country. How is it that we can crack every logistics challenge? We can handle the most perishable of all agri-commodities, which is milk, okay? We can bring fresh milk to a place like Delhi, sourced yesterday morning from Gujarat. We can take the most critical medicines, and this is a cold chain developed entirely by the private sector, from remote parts, from factories in Bangalore to remote parts of the Northeast. We can deliver those vaccine or those critical medicine. How is it that we've not been able to do this for what we are consuming at least twice a day, if not thrice a day? So, of course, I have, like reams and reams of reports that I could share with you, which all of you, some of them are in the public domain. Policy is very easily blamed, and I heard the usual bogeyman being attacked, APMC. There are 7 states in this country where there is no APMC legislation. Why haven't they developed into model supply chain, or value chains have not grown there? Bihar abolished their APMC Act in 2004. It's mayhem out there if you go there. So I don't think that we can blame policy, as Pavnesh rightly said. The cess on fresh produce is never more than 1 or 2%. And I think it can be nobody's case that that is the sort of killer, right? We need to understand that our whole understanding is perhaps somewhere to blame, okay? We put a certain value on grains because there was a political history to it. We were importing it. We had to pay certain costs for that import and that food aid. So the country got together and said, no, from the production to the final supply, we'll create the value chain. So the country created the ecosystem. The research system was created. The marketing system was created. The public distribution system was created. A dedicated credit system was created. Now you look what's happening in FNV. The typical vegetable or fruit farmer has no access to institutional credit, because when we talk about farm credit, our whole policy stance is that this should go only into production of cereals or staples, right? So the majority of, and there are again surveys to prove this, the majority of people who get into fruit and vegetable production are borrowing from the informal market, where the interest rate starts at 36%, and depending on your risk profile may go up to 120%. Certainly no production system that I know of in the world can give you a rate of return to service a loan like that. Then the same goes, it extended to whether you want to access farm machinery, you want to access, specialized services like cold chain, etc. So I think it's not a simple solution like attacking either the government or the private sector. I think there is a major deficit in the entire ecosystem, which everybody will have to get together like we got together in the 60s and solve the core food security problem with cereals. So I'm going to stop here, and I'll look forward to some of your comments and suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So we have next one of the authors of the report, Dr. Souvik Dutta, who is assistant professor with ICRIER. So I'll request him, he has already heard these panelist issues. I will request him that he may just wrap up some of the issues or add some issues which Arpita missed during her presentation as she was going very fast.
Which she is always.
So these 2 issues you can cover and also add your own.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Just to correct the chair, I am an assistant professor with IIM Bangalore.
Oh, sorry.
And, and thanks to Arpita ma'am, who actually thought that I can be capable of be a part of her team to do this and to this study. So I would just talk about a little bit from the survey part. Mainly the awareness thing that came out from the consumers that we surveyed, the 1,000 consumers that we surveyed. Now, as was discussed in this from the beginning, that the awareness about this WHO recommendation as well as the awareness about the intake of phytonutrients. So to be very honest and frank, before I started this work, I wasn't aware of that, okay? And what is more striking is that, given that the audience that we have here, the panel, that distinguished panel that we have here, the kind of educational background and the financial background that we come from, even these people most of the time don't know about these recommendations, or are even not consuming the right amounts. So affordability might not be an issue for these people, but still we are not consuming. So that is one issue. So their awareness has to be starting from the, like as our nutritionist told us, that it has to, I think it is very correct that we have to start it from the very primary schooling level, where our kids are. And they are the future and the youth. That, as we find out from the survey, the younger generation is taking the least amount of fruits and vegetables. They are way below the recommended levels. It's almost half the amount of levels that are recommended by the WHO. So that awareness has to start from there, and it has to, so a major, it's not only the government policy has to take part, and as well as the public forums like this and NGOs, everyone has to decide on, like, to create a awareness about this. And another level of awareness I would like to point out is that the consumer protection rights and the food safety. So the other issue that came up was, how do the consumers thought that, yes, they said that, yes, like around 60% of them told that, yes, I'm willing to pay a higher price to buy an organic product. Now the question that came up, yes, if that turns out not to be organic, or it was a false claim, where do I go? I don't know. I'm sitting here, I don't know where to go exactly. So that is something which needs to be, the consumers need to be made aware of also. That yes, it's not only an awareness about the consumption, the benefits of consumption, whether you are taking the right amounts or not. That is an awareness that is to be created. And the second level of awareness that needs to be created is that if you are finding something which is wrong, okay, which are not meeting the standards, where do I go? So that is something I think has to be done. And so I'll stop here, and thanks everyone for being here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we have our panelists have shared their own views. So we have some time, but I will request organizers that we break at 1:30 for lunch, because it is written 1:20. So can we do 1:30 break? So we have around half an hour. So what I will do, I will take 2 rounds of questions. In first round, I'll take 6 questions. I'll start from this side, 2 questions from here, 2 questions from in between, 2 questions here, 6 questions in one round. And second time, I'll start from there, 2 questions here, second, then in between, I'll give first round to the panelist to respond, and then second round to the panelist. So from here, I start. Two questions from there. Those who raise hand first, they will get the opportunity. Otherwise, we'll pass to side, give more number here. Yeah. Yes, sir.
My name is Malhotra. I'm just a citizen. A couple of questions to all the panelists, actually. Number one, we're talking a lot about cereals versus vegetables and fruits. I guess we must be talking only about urban citizens, because the rural citizen is somebody who probably cannot afford vegetables and fruits, possibly not even proteins. How does he get the feeling of fullness? I guess it's only from cereals. Perhaps the panelists can tell us a little bit about that, as well as gluten intolerance, which seems to be increasing. The next point is, as far as organic food is concerned, there seems to be a consensus that, again, it is the urban consumer who's willing to pay a little extra as far as organic are concerned. What is the percentage of extra that he should pay, versus how is the rural population going to be able to pay that extra?
Okay. Second question from this side. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. I have a simple question. My background is from nutrition, and I agree with Ms. Khosla right there. The idea of having phytonutrient as part of your diet has been known quite well, especially in India. But when it comes to supply chain and growth, and then lastly to the customer, how does the idea fit in of getting the right nutrition across? My question to everybody is there a method that you can educate the people in that process? Is there a possible method of doing that so that people know that they are getting the right kind of nutrition along with the food which they are consuming?
Good.
Thank you.
So this, sir.
Hello everybody. I am D.N. Gupta, retired telecom engineer from Ministry of Telecom. My question, one is for Mr. Parvesh.
Close this little mic.
Hello. My question, first question is for Mr. Parvesh Sharma. I think you are from MP cadre. And so I think, and you had been most of the time in rural areas or agriculture. So my question basically is from the Bundelkhand area region. And I think most of the people know what is the condition of farmers in Bundelkhand area. Every day I think 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you don't have the number of counting. Farmers are having suicides. So what is your experience, why it is like this? I am from that place, I can explain, but I want your answer.
Okay. Very good.
Number one. Number two question is for Vinay Kumar. Vinay Kumar, you are from MBA. आपने कहीं लिखा है कि आप यहाँ इंडस्ट्री कोई खोल रहे हैं शायद और शुरू भी कर दिए शायद, तो बाकी अभी तक प्रोडक्ट्स क्या आप इंपोर्ट कर रहे थे या यहीं लोकल मैन्युफैक्चर हो रहा था? तो दिस इज क्वेश्चन. एंड जो आपने अभी जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट खोली है उसमें आप क्या प्रोडक्ट्स बनाते हैं और अभी भी कौन से ऐसे प्रोडक्ट्स हैं जो आप अभी भी इंपोर्ट करते हैं?
Thank you. My question one is to Mr. Vinay Kumar, and that's more for a clarification because you said different colors on different days, while all through what we have studied is that it should be balanced diet all the time, and therefore I personally feel it should be, you try to have all the colors on your plate every day. So I need clarification on that. The other is regarding malnutrition, and I personally feel apart from the disadvantageous section of the society, we should worry more about the affluent class today, because all this culture of French fries and chocolates among children, that's picking up. And also, when we talk of pregnant and lactating mothers, I suppose that's something which there's total lack of awareness what they should actually be eating. And another section which we are totally neglecting is urban slums. We do concentrate on urban areas, we concentrate on rural, but then urban slums, perhaps they are the worst affected. You go to any of the construction site and see what that labor class is eating. And what is happening is that by the age of 40, they are unable to work any further.
Okay. So that lady, sir, you will be in the next round. I have noted.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm from Delhi. So my question is to Mr. Sharma and Mr. Kohli. So as consumers of fruits and vegetables, we know that some of these desi varieties of vegetables and maybe fruits tend to stay longer and last longer, and perhaps, though there's a debate about this, have more nutritional value. You know, we've seen that as we cook at homes and store it in fridges or even outside. So, you know, from the agriculture policy space, especially for rain-fed farmers who cannot access high-yielding varieties, is there something that could be done, you know, in your view, in the research space to improve research and innovation into desi or traditional varieties? And secondly, you know, maybe with your startup as well, I don't know how that can work. And also, you know, things to improve, you know, get farmers who probably grow these kind of varieties. I know this is there in the organic space, but how can we incentivize these farmers to get their produce, you know, small and marginal farmers, subsistence farmers, to get their produce into this value chain system? Thanks.
There was some last group. Next round, sir, next round.
Yeah.
I have noted. Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir, please.
I want to know, Mishi or someone else, the way nowadays we are putting chemical and other pesticide and other things just to improve the quality and preservatives, that is much more carcinogenic. Why not to take care of this carcinogen effect? Particularly this has been found that some of the fruits are they can prevent carcinogenic, they can prevent cancer. But on the contrary, we are putting some chemical, they are creating cancers. So how to prevent it?